Hello and welcome to Dan Explains. Obviously, I'm Dan. In my 16th video on some new vaccines and how taking them is not fundamentally immoral, I pointed out that taking the new mRNA-based vaccines doesn't alter your DNA. But someone still had to comment that I'm an antichrist for condoning people altering themselves. Now, I'd link the video in the description, but you know who, no liky the truth, and took the video down. However, if you look around on the internet, you may be able to find it shared elsewhere. At any rate, even if it did alter your DNA, that doesn't immediately mean you're messing with God's design. Let me explain why. First off, a quick recap of what an mRNA vaccine is. It basically fools your immune cells into making protein from some foreign virus or microbe to make your immune system believe it needs to make antibodies to it. That way, when you do get infected in the future, your body knows right away the invaders are bad and responds to them. The mRNA is gone out of your system within a day or two. mRNA is not DNA. It can't somehow go backwards and get into the nucleus of your cell and magically become part of your DNA. At least not without some careful intervention, either from a retrovirus or humans. Okay, so what if it did alter your DNA? Or let's say there was another treatment that could be done to alter your DNA. Well, how moral or immoral that is depends on what you're doing and why you're doing it. Just like any decision we make. Many Christian people who don't have a background in molecular biology seem to attribute some kind of divine sacredness to DNA. Like it's the tabernacle of our bodies that God inserts his ones and zeros, or, in the case of DNA, his ACGTs, which he picks the moment you're conceived. It's not to say that God couldn't do that. He can do anything, and there are arguments to be made that he may have with certain people in the Bible. However, DNA is just another part of your body. It even changes and gets older with time, just like the rest of you. Things like smoking, drinking, and even breathing and eating alter your DNA. We know that Jesus did at least the last 3 of those things, because it wasn't grape juice in his cup at the Last Supper. A tan on your skin after spending a day in the sun is a response that your cells have to sunlight, damaging and yes, altering your DNA. Okay, I get it. Those are all random alterations, not purposeful changes. DNA is not some magical divine thing. It's an important mechanism for our bodies to function. There are also non-genetic inheritable things as well. These things are called epigenetics. Certain parts of your cells that are passed on directly. If your embryo didn't get a piece of it, it would have no genetic instructions on how to build it. Yet, most people don't have issues with purposely changing these structures to make the cell function as it's supposed to. And that's the key thing right there. It's the why of the alteration that matters. If there is a treatment to stop cancer, or maybe some kind of thing that you could paste on a wound to regrow a lost limb, we would all be for it. Excluding any kind of unethical development process, of course. However, if someone wanted to augment their body to add something, like a tail, or to give themselves super strength or intelligence, that would mean messing with God's design. Whether you use genetic alterations as the means to achieve the augmentation or not. If a person has a disease, deformity, or other malady that is not the intended design for a human being, Sickle cell anemia, for instance, is due to a broken gene, probably caused in the past by some mutation in a germ cell. That's someone's sperm or egg. Fixing the broken gene is no more immoral than closing a congenital hole in someone's heart. In both cases, you're making an alteration to someone's body to fix an illness that has plagued them since birth. Where do we draw the line between fixing an illness and meddling? Well, we can ask the same question of any surgical intervention as well. Consider cosmetic surgery, for instance. Much of it is probably a gray area. We wouldn't bat an eye at fixing a minor cleft palate. If you had a bunch of kids and you wanted to get a tummy tuck because you're sick and tired of having to tuck your tummy into your pants in the morning, well, the money could probably be better spent elsewhere, but that in itself is not bad either. Going and getting your lips surgically plumped because you weren't satisfied with how attractive the perfectly fine lips you had from birth, on the other hand, is probably a bridge too far. Are you doing it for vain reasons, or are you fixing something? The same goes for genetic manipulation. Are you trying to fix something, or make something that has no issues more to your liking? Okay, I know I've totally skipped over the fact that you're artificially changing your DNA. Maybe the means doesn't justify the ends. Well, the first thing I'd like to point out, the tools we use to alter genetics, whether it's our own or something else's, are actually all natural. We didn't invent them, we discovered them. We found organisms that were already using the tools to alter their own DNA or the DNA of other organisms. We're still in the early Stone Age when it comes to genetic engineering. Literally, taking things we found lying around in nature and, for the most part, using them as they are. Seriously, I mean it. We're not even at the point of sharpening sticks yet, and we've barely figured out how to tie knots with vines. The thing is, even if we had some kind of fancy nanobots that go into your cells, it still wouldn't be an issue as long as you are fixing something that's broken. If you were building a house, you wouldn't skip putting the support structure for the second floor on your house just because the printer that printed out the blueprints had a stuck jet. You'd fix the blueprint. It wasn't the architect's plan to not include them in the first place. The fact that he didn't show up and clean your printer jets before printing doesn't mean he intended for the supports to not be there. Even if you had a contractor who didn't put the support in, you'd fix the problem when you noted the floor sagging and falling down. If you like this video, please press the like button, subscribe to my channel, and ding the bell to get notified when I post new videos. Oh, you may have noticed my background is a little bit different. That's because it's spring now. It should get greener soon. Anyway, please support me on Patreon, link in the description. The more people who support me, the more time I can dedicate to making videos like this one. So, until next time, have a great week.